Hello everybody, this is the notes for section 8.3 for Algebra 2 Trig. Talk about multiplying and dividing expressions. The first idea with this is just simplifying a rational expression. Now what you're doing here is oh so similar to simplifying fractions, just dealing with numbers. If we had 12 divided by 4, just a very simple example. 12 is 4 times 3. And you got this factor of 4. Technically, it's times 1 on the bottom. Common factors cancel out. So you got 3 over 1, which is just 3. You're just looking for those common factors. Okay. Same thing with rational expressions. Now you're just dealing with polynomials. So the biggest thing you got to do is just factor it. So look at this first example here. The numerator, it factors to x plus 6 multiplied by the quantity of x plus 4. You're going to divide that by the denominator, which factors to x plus 12, not 10. X plus 12, no, hang on, wrong number. We got to have plus 6 and x minus 4. There we go. That works. Excuse me. So we got all the factors top and bottom, and so just like with numbers, you cancel out your common factors. So the simplified version is, I'm not writing anything right. X plus 4 over x minus 4. There's your simplified fraction, simplified rational expression. All right. It doesn't matter what the function looks like. This is the idea of what you're doing. You're just factoring and then canceling out any common factors. So as far as factoring is concerned, looking at example 2 here, you got lots of different things to look at. This is what we did in the last chapter. For this one, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you've got no like terms. But if you group them, I'm going to change that to plus and negative. If you group these things, now you got some common factors. X squared, you factor that out of those first two terms, you got an x plus 1. Plus, you factor out a negative 4, you also got an x plus 1. Now these two terms have a common factor of x plus 1. So you got to think about all these other factoring things that we have done. Looking at example number 3, the top and bottom, you got some common factors in all those terms. Possibly 16x squared. I'm not sure if 16 is a factor of that 112, but all those ideas that we've talked about before with factoring, that's what you got to be doing. All right. For multiplying rational expressions, basically, like it says, you factor the top and bottom as much as possible, and then when you multiply fractions, you just go straight across. So looking at example 5, we're just going to multiply straight across. And really what you can do is just put parentheses around each of these different parts. Now we just start canceling out any common factors that we have. If we were to multiply some of those things across in the numerator, we have an x cubed multiplied by an x cubed. That's an x to the 6th. But then we're dividing by x to the 5th. So we got an extra factor of x that will stay in the numerator. Now for our numbers. This 9 will cancel out a factor of 9 to the 27, leaving us with a factor of 3. This factor of 6 will become a 2 when it cancels out with one of those factors of 3. This factor of 2 here will cancel out that factor of 2. So we've accounted for the x's, top and bottom. So now what we're looking at is 14 times a negative 1 multiplied by another negative 1. So that is just 14 over everything but a 3 was canceled out in the denominator. All right. Kind of a lot to that one, but this is all you're doing is just canceling out common factors. We're just multiplying fractions. And so cancel out your common factors. Let's look at number 7 here. A little bit more to this one, but you are multiplying fractions, so you could, I don't recommend this, but you could multiply those two factors together in the numerator and get this big old x to the 4th function. Don't do that, please. You're making much more work for yourself. Instead, break these things down into their factors. So this numerator would become x plus 3 times x minus 3 times, this one would factor to x plus 4 times x plus 5. There's all your factors of the numerator. Another room here. In the denominator, let's see, we've got x plus 4 times x minus 2. Clean that minus 2 up a little bit. And then the x squared minus 3x. There's a common factor of x. You take out of both of those terms, you're left with an x minus 3. There's all your factors of the denominator. So x plus 4 is a common factor. They cancel each other out. X minus 3 is a common factor. They cancel each other out. And that's it. So what we're left with is x plus 3 times x plus 5 in the numerator over x times x minus 2 in the denominator. And depending on what the question asked, you may have to put these back into polynomial form, so you'd have to do a little bit of distributive property. You'd get x squared plus 8x plus 15 over x squared minus 2x. Simplified. Okay? Dividing rational expressions. The biggest thing to remember is dividing by a fraction, multiply the numerator by the reciprocal of the denominator. So, what you're going to do, again, you're going to factor just like we talked about before. But I'm going to do two steps at one time. I'm going to factor everything I can, and at the same time, change that division to a multiplication by the reciprocal. So, in fact, I'm going to do that one first. Multiplied by. Now I'm looking at the denominator. When I take the reciprocal of it, that's going to become in the numerator. So x minus 3 times x plus 2. That's now in the numerator. The numerator of what we're dividing by becomes the denominator. That factors to x plus 2 times x plus 2. Okay, we are multiplying that by the numerator. This whole thing was our numerator. So we got a factor of 6x. We're left with x plus 5. In the denominator, we got x plus 5 and x plus 1. All right, so common factors, top and bottom. We got x plus 5s. We got two factors of x plus 2 in the denominator, but only one of them cancels out with the numerator. And that's it. So now we're looking at 6x times x minus 3 over x plus 1 times x plus 2. So 6x squared minus 18x over x squared plus 3x plus 2. There is our answer to that division problem. Okay, you're still factoring, but you're going to change the division so that you take the numerator and multiply it by the reciprocal of what you're dividing by, and then start canceling out your common factors just like before. That is it for the notes for this section. Have a good night.